being in it for the tech is a complete and utter virtue signal. I don't think I've actually ever met anyone who is truly in it for the tech, who actually really says that they're in it for the tech. I mean, sometimes people will say it, but I don't think they really mean it. And to be honest, being in it for the tech has become a little bit of a running joke amongst the community, where if you are holding a token and your token is not performing well, you're probably just in it for the tech. You're a community member. You're a bag holder. Same thing with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin is going great, I'm an investor. I'm a trader. When it's going badly or poorly, I'm in it for the tech. And that's kind of I wouldn't say it's more of a vicious cycle than a virtuous one. And I do certainly think that saying that you're in it for the tech is a virtue signal. Anyway, so I'll get to that. But I think I will start first from my own point of origin, and myself personally, I I would say so. I started buying Bitcoin in December 2016, back when it was $600, and I have to say my initial intent was not ever really to try and make money with it. I never looked at myself or regarded myself as a trader. I just kind of bought Bitcoin because I thought the technology was cool. Now, that's not to say I'm in it for the technology or I was in it for the technology. I just thought Bitcoin was pretty neat. I thought it was interesting. I didn't really know too much about it, and I wanted to learn more. Now, over time, that slowly grew from something where I just had some Bitcoin just to buy it. It's similar to how you would, say, go to the store and buy a Rubik's Cube or something to put on your desk just to have something nice like that. I had some Bitcoin. So it grew from that over time to it became something more of me realizing that, oh wait, I can actually trade this thing and I can buy these other things, because I didn't know what altcoins were at the time. So I thought I could buy some altcoins and I can trade these things, and with these altcoins it turns out I can make some Bitcoin. And I didn't really understand it at the time. I didn't really know what a chart was. I didn't know the historical price action of Bitcoin. So I had no idea that Bitcoin was on a run, had these different kind of market forces affecting it, had all these buyers and sellers and this price appreciation recently. I just saw that it was $600, and I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. $600 for a Bitcoin, sure, why not? So I bought some Bitcoin. And then as Bitcoin started rising in price and I started making money, I started making Bitcoin trades with altcoin and started requiring more Bitcoin, I realized, oh, I can actually do this for profit, like real profit. I can turn this into money. I can turn this into assets that I own in the real world, rather than just these cool internet coins. So I myself, again, I am someone who likes to look at things on a technical level, especially given my experience in 2018. I really kind of hunkered down and tried to become much more of a long-term investor and only invest, really honestly, in things that are at the very least technically interesting, right? Rather than just flipping ICOs. Although I did certainly do a lot of that. So I wouldn't say I'm innocent from that at all. I would just say that my evolution as a trader did go from someone who just bought a little bit of Bitcoin to realizing I could trade this thing for profit, to realizing I could trade altcoins, to trading ICOs and flipping those, and then becoming more of a longer term investor, more of a value investor. And with value investing, really the important thing that you realize is it is much more about the technology. You do have to dive deep into the white paper. You have to understand what it is you're buying. You have to understand the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan. Will this actually fit in the market? Is there a market for it? Do people have the need for this, or the want for this, or the desire for this token? Is this something that is going to appreciate? These are really complex questions to answer. And so if you're someone who is just a trader, who is not in it for the tech, let's say, you're never going to be able to understand or get any of these things. So there certainly is a delineation, I would say. There is a difference between people who say they're in it for the tech and people who don't care about the technology at all. So there's a lot of famous traders on crypto Twitter, for example, who do trade crypto, and they will trade crypto just because it's volatile, because it goes up very quickly and it goes down very quickly, and it happens a lot on very short time frames, and it's nothing at all like the stock market because it's 10 to 100 times faster. I don't need to wait a year for my altcoin to tell me if I did well or not. I just need to wait, let's say, a month or something. Actually, it's more like in traditional, you probably have to wait something like 5 to 10 years And with altcoins, usually you're waiting that single year or so to figure out whether your altcoin is actually something that, at the very least, speculators think it has some kind of value. So certainly, if you're not in it for the tech at all, then sure, there is a delineation between people like that. But I would say it's. I mean, it really goes back to the meaning of things, right, and the semantics of it. So again, it goes. If I invest something, and again, I just gave this whole layout walkthrough on why I am a technically minded investor now, I will still only invest in things with the promise of some kind of reward at the end, whether that is monetary or in the reward of more tokens or some kind of business equity, whatever it may be. I'm not going to just invest in something because I think the technology is cool, right? It's not an investment at that point. When I bought Bitcoin at $600, it wasn't an investment. It was, I just think Bitcoin is cool, so I'm going to buy some Bitcoin. So I guess in that sense, you could say in the purest sense, I was in it for the technology at that point because it was never an investment initially. And so now that I am an investor, that I am a trader, that I do look to acquire value through tokens and things like that, and this is my livelihood essentially, I am looking for that monetary reward. So yes, I am in it for the technology, but insofar as I will be able to also make profit and reward at the end of that journey, hopefully, right? So I think anyone who says they're in it for the technology, you really have to wonder, yeah, okay, you're in it for the technology, but you're probably also in it for the money. Because if you have any kind of conversation that lasts 5 to 10 minutes with these people, usually they will start talking to you about the bull market and how much money they made, or the bear market and how much money they lost, or how much money they could have had if they bought this or that. And so at that point, you start to realize, like, okay, yeah, you're in it for the technology. You really like the technology, but you like your Lambos a little bit more than you like the technology. So so again, being in it for the technology, it's just. I think being in it for the technology is like saying you use forks and spoons for the technology. It just doesn't make sense. You use forks and spoons. Hopefully you use forks and spoons. If you don't use forks and spoons, I recommend buying forks and spoons. This is not a sponsored message, but go use some forks and spoons, you degenerates. But forks and spoons, you use it to eat food. You're not invested in forks and spoons for the tech. That doesn't make sense. So it's likewise with Bitcoin. Most people are in Bitcoin because they're looking for that financial reward. They're looking for that incentive. You're not in Bitcoin for the technology. You don't actually really care too much about that. If you were in it for the technology, some people actually are in it for the technology, and these people usually aren't investors, actually. Or they have some, but they're not really too interested about the money. They're much more interested in spreading the message. So this is one of the ways that you can actually prove you're in it for the technology. Observe your own behavior. If you talk to people and you try to proselytize them on Bitcoin based on its technological basis, then sure. So if you buy Bitcoin, let's say as something like a world hedge, I can understand why you might be able to say that you're in it for the technology. If you talk to people and you try to convince them why the technology is good rather than saying, well, you should buy Bitcoin because it went up 1,000 times last year and it might do it again. That's not really the technology. There's no technology involved in that. That's just you wanting to speculate. So again, observe your own behavior. So if you do want to be in it for the technology, you don't actually need to be invested in this at all. If you're invested in the success of something like Bitcoin, then actually, sure, you can help a little bit by being a holder and buying on the markets. Yes, that would help a little bit, but it won't help nearly as much as actually educating people, doing seminars, let's say, evangelizing about Bitcoin, doing YouTube channels like this. Haha, you see? So these are things that actually prove that you are in it for the technology. If you're just in it for the money, if you're in it for the quick buck, then that's fine. Say that that's what you're in it for. Say that you're an investor. Hey, I am an investor, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with saying you're an investor, you're in a Bitcoin to try and make money. That's great. A lot of people do it. I do it myself. Again, this is my livelihood at this point. I trade, I buy, I sell, do altcoins, and all of that. Yes, there is a technological basis behind why I buy things, sure. I'm not just going to go buy any altcoin off the street just because I think it's going to go 10x tomorrow. But I will be buying an altcoin looking to sell it at a higher price based on a technical or fundamental analysis level. At some level there, yes, I'm going to be buying something for the reason that, yes, I do like the technology, but again, insofar as I can make profit. So I think that was really it for this. It's just, again, Look at people who say in the future, anyone who says that they're in it for the technology, chances are they are virtue signaling. They are saying it. They're just saying it to make themselves feel good. They're saying it to make others around them feel good. They're saying it to try to put themselves on a different level as to those lowly, dirty traders and investors. And those guys don't really understand what Bitcoin is all about. But I understand it because I'm in it for the technology. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't hold water. And it honestly, it's not a good look. It kind of makes you look like a little bit of a dick. So, that's it. If you like this video, please leave a like, leave a comment. We are all in it for the technology on this channel, of course. So, I'll see you guys next time.